Well, great. It's great to see everyone. I think looks like pretty much everybody here is a returning face, so we probably won't do full introductions. There's a couple presenters who are going to be joining who said they're going to join a little late. So we have Matt Hoffner presenting later. He's going to join around 11:12, and he's going to give a presentation on the wet lab initiative, so the life sciences incubator that MTI is working on. And then we'll have Lia present on the Maine, let me make sure I get the name right, the Maine Invention Convention, and then we'll have Emma present on the Innovate for Maine Fellows Program. But just to get started, I'm not going to do my normal spiel on what MxG is, because again, I think everybody here has been here before, so I'll just hop right into updates from MTI. So the key update, and folks might have seen this in the news yesterday, is that Maine was awarded a $22 million grant for the Biden-Harris administration as part of the Tech Hub initiative. So folks might recall that in October of 2023, Maine was designated a tech hub for forestry. And as part of that, we were given an opportunity to apply for follow-on funding for, I think, the tune of around 50 million and did not get that award. However, recently we found out that even though we didn't get the full 50 million, we are getting 22 million, which is extremely exciting. The $22 million award will support two projects focused on driving commercialization and innovation in Maine's forest byproduct sector. And those two projects are Bridge Forest bioproducts technological innovations with the commercialization resources and partnerships necessary to successfully bring that intellectual property to market at a globally competitive scale. And the second is to strengthen a pipeline of innovations, de-risking these innovations with technical assistance and leveraging new commercialization, advanced manufacturing, and workforce resources. So I'll post those. They're both a little wordy. So I'll post them in the chat so folks can take a look at what that is. And there'll be more information to come, but that's just something to be aware of as funding coming down the pike. A lot of details still to be sorted out, but just wanted to share. And MTI is actually going to be primarily administering that program, and we'll be bringing on some additional staff to help manage that funding. And then, of course, we also have the recent research and development bond that was passed in November, and that is still, the details of that are still being sorted out, but we're still on a timeline to have more information for the group later this winter, spring. So I'll post the details on that, the Tech Hub in the chat. And that's all from MTI. So Jake, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Tom. Morning, everybody. Happy New Year, if I haven't seen you yet. As we are in 2025, that means the Pine Tree Development Zone program has sunset and Dirigo has officially launched. It's up and running. Eligible businesses, make sure that they know that they need to apply for certification before they start their capital or worker training investments. Again, real quick about Dirigo, specific sectors, but you can get capital investment rebate back. So 10% in most counties, 5% in the southern counties, York, Cumberland, and Saginaw, I think it is. And there's also a $2,000 per worker trained tax credit. Be on the lookout for the unveiling of Maine's 10-year outdoor recreation economy roadmap. Thank you to everybody who participated in that. I'm personally really excited to see the final product. I believe that'll be unveiled in the coming weeks, at least before our next meeting. And the second round of the Business Recovery and Resilience Fund closed on Tuesday. We'll be working hard to get out the last $2 million of that. And my last update is really from DEP. They have the State of Maine's Waste Diversion Grant Program. It's offering funding ranging from $1,000 to $60,000 to support projects that enhance the management of organic waste. Think regional, municipal compost, and there's a few other educational and whatnot categories you can fall into. So I'll post some information on that in the chat, and I'll turn it back over to you, Tom.
Great, thanks, Jake. And just so folks are aware, we had a couple of presenters for this month who needed to postpone for various reasons to next month. So we have a little extra time for this meeting. So there's definitely going to be some space at the end of the meeting if folks have any organizational updates that they want to share with the group, or longer updates than we normally have time for. So keep that in mind as we're going if you have anything you want to share. But to get started, I'm going to turn it over to Matt Hoffner, who I think I just saw join.
make an appointment to talk with somebody.
Oh, he was on and then,
I'm here.
oh, you're here. Great.
You just need to enable sharing.
One sec.
Okay, I just, yep, there we go. You should be good to go, Matt.
Let me do that. Super. Have a seat. Yeah. You have a minute?
And Matt, you
Okay.
have till roughly 11:25, so a little longer than we discussed. You have like 14 minutes, but so yeah, feel free to use it.
Great. Everybody can see the screen?
Yes.
Tom asked me to just talk a little bit about a new program that we are cranking up at MTI. DECD found some additional funding, ARPA funding, that was not going to be used in time. So they asked if we could take some of this money, and you'll see that's $2 million to crank up a life science wet lab incubator in Portland. If you're not familiar with what a wet lab incubator is, think of it as a co-working space with really nice lab facilities and lab equipment that's available to scientists, especially startup scientists who couldn't afford all the equipment that's necessary to furnish a state-of-the-art lab. So that's what we're looking for. These organizations already exist in the US. There's a number of companies that have multiple locations. And when you begin to look at and talk to these organizations, the economic impact is quite impressive. I was at one in Boston last week that in the last 8 years, they've graduated, as they call it, 62 companies in the Boston market. Most of them will have settled somewhere around the mother incubator, because obviously the staff has figured out their commute or living in Boston. And so it has had a dramatic impact on the life science industry in the city of Boston. So the pictures I took at this location last week, this is the lab portion. And as a new company coming into this space, you tell the lab the co-working space lab how many feet of bench space you really are looking for. And so it can accommodate 1 or 2 researchers all the way up to 20. So it's a lab that has all the equipment, all the gas feeds, all the refrigeration. And for this lab in Boston, the initial cost of equipping the lab with state-of-the-art equipment was close to $1 million. So that's the kind of capital that a startup is not going to have, but they need in order to prove their concepts. It also has a whole side of the operation which looks just like a co-working space. So it's the meeting rooms, it's the copiers, it's the kitchens, it's the boardrooms, it's the telephone booths that I think we're probably all familiar with as well. So it's a combination of the labs and the offices that they're making available. And obviously this is a Class A kind of facility, would be one that you would be very happy to bring potential investors or customers in to visit. This one is in Somerset, Boston area. This is a quick review of the kind of equipment that they're bringing in. As you can see, it's not the kind of equipment that you would normally find at a co-working space, but it is the kind of equipment that is needed for a successful startup to demonstrate their activity. In addition to the equipment, what they have found is they need to have, they have 2 people on a full-time basis at this lab in Boston who do nothing but manage the equipment maintenance. They manage all the biohazard and chemical waste that's generated from this lab, which is a big deal. The environmental health training that they do is a core part of the services that they provide. And they also have found that most of these companies are going out and buying similar equipment, petri dishes, glassware, pipettes, all the kind of stuff that you need for a research lab, and they handle the procurement. So they'll order it for you, they'll receive it. If it needs to be refrigerated, they'll get it into a refrigerator. They take a picture and send it to you that your order has arrived and it's been stocked. So it's a nice service that allows these startup companies to really focus just on their research. As I mentioned, DEC has given MTI a $2 million that would be a one-time grant to a qualified partner. We also at MTI had $750,000 earmarked for this opportunity. So it's a total grant of 2.75. Ballpark numbers, the operation in Somerville that I was visiting last week, the real estate's more expensive down there. The build out was more expensive, and they spent a little over $10 million to get that lab up and running. And it was about 30,000 square feet. So it gives you a sense as to what the investment would need to be here in Maine if we were to offer the same thing. But 2.75 million as a grant gets everybody's attention. So this organization in Boston that I spoke to is very interested in talking to us of how they can apply to be considered for a new office that they would like to have in Portland. What else I've done is I've identified the top 5 wet lab companies in the US. Each of these companies have between 2 and 15 sites worldwide. And I'll be contacting them to make them aware of this program and set up meetings with them to see if they would like to participate in the RFP. I'm also reaching out to all their Maine-based bioscience organizations, and we have about 12 or 14 in the state, asking for input as to what they think the RFP should include, and make sure that we have direct input from industry experts already in the state. Then we'll develop the RFP and hopefully select a partner by the Q3 of this year. And the contractors that I've spoken to think that it's a 9 to 12 month build out once the facility is identified. So theoretically, we could be up and running with a wet lab incubator space in the 3rd quarter of next year. So that was just a quick overview. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thanks, Matt. Folks, feel free to raise a hand physically or virtually.
I have a couple questions.
Go ahead, Cindy.
And I forgot how to raise my hand.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Quickly, so I just spoke up. That is really exciting, Matt. You know, I obviously in my work with the TAP team see companies all the time who are struggling. You know, they're applying for these federal R&D grants and they're struggling to figure out where they're going to do it. I mean, the Rue Institute has solved some of that, but they don't obviously have these kind of capabilities. Exactly. You mentioned Portland. Would it be up to the partner that you to find the building, to find the space and build it all out? You're putting all that on the quote unquote experts who know how to set these up, right?
Pretty much. We chatted with these people a lot about what they're looking for, what they would want. And they're finding that the quality of life of the community is a big draw as to where these scientists decide they want to do their research. And, you know, if you had to choose, we'd love to see a lab in Northern Maine, but honestly, the quality of life and the amenities that can be offered in the Portland area is probably fairly compelling. And honestly, when I spoke to these people in Boston last week, they really wouldn't consider anything other than the Portland market.
Which probably includes Brunswick Landing, roughly.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
you know, yeah, exactly. But I think that that's really important because as much as all of us try to be statewide organizations, and it's unfortunate, we just don't have the deal flow here in, you know, we do have a lot of life sciences companies and some of them are located up north, but in order to attract and retain that kind of talent, I think you got to stick with your primary, you know, cultural center and all that, like you said. But this is really exciting. I must have been in a hole because I haven't heard about this, but I think it's great.
Yeah, it happened very quickly at the end of last year. They found the money, and then, as you know, for ARPA money, it has to be used by December of 26.
Yeah.
And so we needed to find partners quickly who can place the money and use it quickly so we can meet that guideline or that deadline as well.
That's great. These top 5, I'm sorry that I'm taking all the bandwidth here, but these top 5 incubators, were any of them or any others that you looked at in sort of markets similar to Portland? In other words, smaller than Boston or San Francisco or something?
No, that worries me, to be honest with you. They were all in the major cities.
Yeah.
The top one in the world is actually a division of Johnson & Johnson. They call it J Labs. They have 16 locations with about 5 or 6 of them in other countries.
Okay.
Japan and Europe and other locations, but they're all major cities.
Yeah.
So the question I keep asking myself is, do we have enough life science startup opportunities in Maine to make a go of this commercial lab? Now, this company in Boston has a waiting list to get into their lab. They have 2 labs in Boston. They have a waiting list of people waiting to get in. They did a survey of those people, and 50% of them said they would move to Maine if the facility was here.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, we're pretty close, and we certainly could draw from, the Manchester, New Hampshire market. And, when I worked for MCE, we got that EDA grant for the Biosciences program, and that's still running. And, getting enough companies to join on in the various levels of those programs, from ideation through scaling has I think been a challenge for Tom and the folks over there, although I think they're doing okay. I haven't been very close to it lately, but yeah, this would certainly be a draw that would support all those other programs. Great.
Yep.
There's Bobby posted a question in the chat. She said, do you have the partners? It's the Rockrow, Westbrook, New Lab Space One. What about UNE and Biddeford?
Both of them are on my list, Bobby. I think there's 14 organizations that I told Brian I would reach out to for input. There was 6 that he was insistent on. Once I talk to those 6, I'm going to develop a list of what I've heard and ask the rest of the list to join me on a Zoom call. So we'll begin to get feedback before we actually form the RFP.
Joe, I see you have a question.
Hey, Matt, it's Joe Migliaccio.
Hey, Joe.
Well, is this, whatever happened to when I was at MTI a few years ago, we did the RFP for the same thing with some money from MTI, and we awarded Nest Bio, I think 800K or something, 550. Are they
750?
750? Are they still active, or can they compete, or are we rolling that money? Is Maine rolling that money into this project?
Yeah, when we made the award, the 750 wasn't enough to incent them to come to Portland, and their board of directors had funding to open the organization. The facility I went to last week was their facility in Boston, and it's their new location in Somerville. So they put the $10 million to build that facility. They didn't have the bandwidth or the resources to also take the $750,000 and come to Portland. So since the money had already been encumbered, Brian said, let's throw it on top. And that's where the MTI 750 is coming from.
So the total is 2.75.
Yep.
Well, that'll get some eyes. I got a long history, as you know, with this. It's my background. If I'd love to jump on a Zoom call with you or whatever, because we've got a lot of lessons learned in the state of Maine over the years. And your last point is right on. Is my suggestion would be you start with later stage investable companies. Otherwise, you're not going to have the deal flow. So this is so exciting, and look forward to input or anything else. And I assume, you know, like Tom Rainey and that crew that was mentioned, Tom's got a background in this. So excellent. So excited. And Nest Bio's pretty good. Hopefully they
Yeah,
can
their new
keep.
name is Hatch instead of Nest. Hatch Bio.
Okay, thanks.
Matt, I know you have a board meeting. You gotta hop over to, but thanks so much for taking the time to present to us.
welcome.
And if you don't mind, what's the best, if folks have more follow-on questions, should they reach out to you? Who
Yeah,
would be the
sure.
best person?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll
That's,
post your, I know your email, so I'll post it in the chat for folks and you can hop back to your board meeting.
Sounds good. Thanks, Tom.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everybody,
Matt.
for the opportunity. Look forward to keeping you updated.
Well, great. Well, I'm going to post Matt's email in the chat momentarily, but first I'm going to turn it over to Lia to talk about the Maine Invention Convention.
All right, can everyone hear me and see my screen?
Yes, though it's not in share mode. I don't know if you meant for it to be. There's a share button in top right. Or no, sorry, excuse me. There's a slideshow button top right. Yeah, it's strange. You're clicking it.
I'm just gonna stop share real quick because I don't see it on my screen.
Okay.
I could
And-
see the deck. I could see it.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, it just wasn't in share mode, but I mean, you're more than welcome to present just that way.
okay. I mean, it should. Sorry, now it's being a little finicky. I don't have any notes that I'm reading off of on the slide, so it should be okay.
Okay, great. We'll go ahead.
Right. So thank you for giving me the time to talk about Maine Invention Convention. My name is Lia. I work at the Maine Discovery Museum. I'm the Maine Community Engagement Coordinator. So one of my main focuses is running the Maine Invention Convention that we picked up in 2019. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about what it is first. So it is a program and a free curriculum that is offered through the Henry Ford Museum, and we are partnering with them to provide it to the state of Maine. We're actually the state affiliate. So it's K through 12, which means you could have kindergartners coming to pitch an invention that they will work on in school, and their focus of it is to find a real world problem in their lives or their families' lives and have an invention that either solves it if they can, or at least tries to help it or alleviate any issues they might have with it. So currently what we're doing with it is we're trying to grow it in the state of Maine. So what they'll do is they'll start at their school level. They can run the curriculum for as long or as short as they want to. And then their school will have to hold a competition for them. And from that group, they'll decide who they would want to promote to the state competition, which is where we come in. We hold the state competition during the Maine Science Festival at the Cross Insurance Center. And what it basically is a chance for the kids to all go to that space and pitch their inventions to the people who will be judges. And then anyone who's at the Maine Science Festival can walk through their area and ask the kids about the inventions themselves. And then after that, they'll have a chance to go into a national competition in Michigan at the Henry Ford itself, where they'll get to compete with kids from, I believe there's 34 other states that Invention Convention is currently in. And some of the awards that they could win for it is a patent award. So these inventors do have the chance to pitch this invention and get it patented through the US Patent Office. They'll work with them to get it done. And then eventually they had a national competition. They had to scale back, but it'll go to international, they're hoping, within the next few years. So if we have a Maine student who moves on from nationals, they could go to the international competition, which would include, at the moment, Canada and a few South American countries. I think they're still working on that and they want to take it even further onto other continents. But I wanted to include in the bottom of this the invention process graphic that we get when we start doing Invention Convention, because it includes a lot of the creative and innovative thinking that it has to do, but it also includes the more business focused ideas like marketing your product and licensing the invention. These kids actually have to go through the process of checking to make sure that what they've invented isn't already invented by somebody else through the US Patent Office. So it's a really fun way for them to get in a STEM curriculum. And this is a picture from our state competition. It's from a few of the last few years. We actually just got back to being in person in 2022. We were actually able to keep the program going throughout COVID online, which was really awesome. And now that we're back in person, we're having more repeat teachers from 2019 and previous signing back up again. But it is for them to go to the national competition. States are free and their school competition is free, but it is about $3,000 for them and a chaperone to go to Michigan. They can't go alone. They have to bring at least one adult, and a lot of kids actually like to bring more than one family member if they can. But the next picture is a few of our students from the nationals competition at the Henry Ford. But it's a really good chance for Maine inventors and Maine youth to go out and see more of the world and see that they really have a place and that their voices have a place. And the last picture I want to show is just, they do every year a big group picture where they have every state and they all have these yellow shirts that are like their big color.
Yeah,
And they
sorry
get
to interject. I don't think for whatever reason your slides aren't advancing on our screen. We're still seeing just the first title slide. Sorry, I didn't realize you were trying to show some of those photos.
No, you're good. I might honestly just have to unshare and reshare it again, which I'm not. Wait, let's see if this works.
Will you be able to send Tom the deck?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can just send me the deck and I'll share it. I'll share it with the group afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks.
I do want to try to pop that one back up real quick, just because it's a very cool photo. And then after I'll stop sharing and be completely open for any questions that you guys may have.
Yes, that's shown up. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so if you look in like the upper left corner back here, we have all of our Maine students. Yeah, I'll definitely share the deck so that you guys can peruse as you need to. But I'm open for any questions you have.
Thank you so much. Yeah, any questions for Lia? Looking to see. Feel free to raise hands. Marty, just
It's a great invention. Awesome.
So Lia, in terms of getting students involved, or if people here either have their students themselves or know people who might be interested, is it the schools that opt to participate, or do individual students opt to participate? I'm sorry if I misunderstood that.
No, you're good. So it's through the schools, but we did launch an independent inventors program, which means if you are a homeschool student or your school doesn't offer it for your grade, or if you're some other after school program like the Y or Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts, you can also participate.
Oh, cool. Great. Amazing.
Lia, do you guys help the winners with fundraising in order to get to the national event, or is there any mechanism by which to get them there?
So we get one scholarship from the Henry Ford, and then the rest is either through, we have sponsorships that we'll get, or if the school will help them do fundraising, we can help with fundraising, but it's a basket of things they do to get money together for it.
I'm going to jump in really quickly for two things. Number one, so I'm at the Discovery Museum. I'm the executive director. One of the ultimate goals for this program is to get enough sponsorships and grants so that students don't have to pay for it. We're really interested in giving the opportunity to have students see that they can compete with anyone. And Lia gets the great joy of not having to write all those grants and asks for those sponsorships. That's my job. So that's why she knows it's cobbled together right now, but that is the ultimate goal. And I do think if anybody, I'm just to throw this out there, if anybody on here is interested in being a judge and truly being inspired by these kids, please let Lia know. I know we roped in Bobby last year and then got totally slammed with an ice storm. So she did not get her yearly dose of inspiration from the kids that she was going to get. But I will say it is a truly, I don't even like science fairs or things like this. And I like seeing what these kids come up with. So
Do you have, and what's the date on it? 'Cause I'd
March
love to put on my,
Sorry,
sorry.
say the date again.
The event is March 22nd at the Maine Science Festival.
Great.
yeah,
Well, if you, oh, go ahead, Lia.
I said we are actively looking for judges if anyone wanted to spend the time and just see some of the crazy things that these kids come up with. My favorite example is the kid who made Maine flavored ice cream. So she did like acorns and oak. I don't remember if it was a big hit, but it's one of the many things that kids come up with. That's really interesting.
Wow, that's great. So if folks want to be are there any specific qualifications to be a judge, or just interest and excitement about judging?
Interest and excitement is the major one. If you have any experience with kids, that's also a plus.
Great.
You don't
And the
need
time commit. What would the time commitment be on that day? Is it a full day event or?
So judging would start at 10 and you guys would be done by 1, and there's breaks in between, so it's not like a go thing.
Amazing. Well, if you don't mind posting, if folks are interested in judging, maybe if you don't mind posting your email in the chat, and actually that reminds me, I still need to post Matt's email. That would be great, and then folks can reach out if they're interested.
Yeah.
Are you looking for
Well, thanks.
mentors also?
Oh,
Sorry. Are you looking for mentors?
Not for this year, but for next year, that would be great.
Cool.
thank you. That was great and really exciting, and I'm curious to hear what inventions come out of this year's competition, and hopefully we have some really good ones go on to the Michigan event. So lastly, we have Emma to talk about the Innovate for Maine Fellows Program.
Hi, everyone, just let me grab my slides. No, that's not. All right, I know there's some of you on the call that definitely know what Innovate for Maine is, but for those of you who don't, I'm Emma Wilson. I'm the talent programs manager at the University of Maine Foster Center for Innovation, and I run the Innovate for Maine Fellows Program. So Innovate for Maine has been around for over a decade, and in that time, we've matched over 326 Maine college students with over 280 innovative Maine companies for a summer internship experience. And we work with a ton of different types of companies. So from breweries to aquaculture, engineering, app companies, food product, you name it, we've probably worked with them and continue to work with them. Because we're working with so many different types of companies, there's ton of different projects our students are working on in any given summer. One of the most popular ones is market research, social media marketing, but we also have, computer programming, engineering, prototyping, graphic design, data analysis. Really, it depends on the needs of the companies and the skill sets of the students that we have for that particular year. Some benefits of IFM. So Innovate for Maine right now is fully funded by MGRP funding through the federal government, at least through the summer of 2025. So most Maine startups and companies would qualify. I'll get into in a bit about the specific qualifications, but most of the time it's going to be no cost for the companies to host a fellow for the summer. The other big thing is it simplifies access to interns. So I do all of the recruiting, and then so I'm going out to career fairs and talking to classes in colleges and universities all around Maine. We have social media campaigns going on, email marketing, you name it. We also handle the matching process with company input to figure out who's the best student in our pool for your company. Then UMaine actually hires the students as UMaine employees, so you don't have to do any of that paperwork.
Then all of the students come to UMaine for 4 days in person for a boot camp where they get a crash course in innovation engineering. They learn about what it means to be a good employee and a good intern. They do networking. So they're all ready to go on day 1 in early June for their first day of their internship. And then throughout the summer, they're still University of Maine employees. So we continue to supervise them and to mentor them. So if there are any issues that arise, we can help with that as well. The other big benefit is that they're actually doing impactful work. These students are not making coffee, doing copies, that kind of thing. They're working on projects that will make an impact on the companies that they're working with, because we recruit very intelligent, passionate students for the program. And then, like I mentioned before, they're working on a wide variety of types of projects. And in terms of location, if you don't have space, if a company doesn't have space to host an intern, then we have 2 remote locations here at the Foster Center in Orono, and then down in Portland as well, where they would be working in person with other Innovate for Maine fellows and our staff. So back to the eligibility assistance. So to qualify for no-cost assistance right now, you have to be a for-profit Maine company with less than 250 employees that was negatively impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, and obviously offer a meaningful project. And we get a lot of questions around what it means to be negatively impacted. It doesn't necessarily have to mean that you were a company back in 2020 when the pandemic hit. We get companies that started 2022, and one of the reasons why they started then was because they were delayed because of the pandemic. So there's lots of different ways that we see that companies were negatively impacted. It doesn't necessarily have to be the traditional things that you might think of. If companies have any questions, our team, myself, or my coworker who handles all the eligibility forms can chat over Zoom and answer any of those questions. The matching process, because we're hiring so many students at once, we don't have the traditional interviewing process because we just don't have the capacity. Last year we had over 150 applicants and 50 students that ended up becoming fellows. So our process is that we first vet all the company projects coming in, and then the students receive a list of the companies and projects once the deadline is passed, and then the students get to self-select the ones they're most interested in. And then each company receives a list of all of the students that selected them, which is, if you've hosted an Innovate for Maine Fellow in the last couple of years, slightly different than the last few years, where you actually get the entire list of students that selected you. And then the companies then review the students and rank their choices and give us feedback on why they ranked them the way they did. And then that information gets all sent back to us, and we do the final 1-to-1 matching, and the student gets hired as a UMaine employee. The other thing to keep in mind is that there's different opportunities for companies in terms of what your needs are. So we offer full-time 400-hour internships, part-time 200-hour, and if you just have a small project, we do 100-hour projects where the student that you would be working with is working on a couple of different projects with other companies. So if it's a part-time student, they'd be working with 2 companies. If it's a full-time student, they'd likely be working with three companies. Some dates to keep in mind: application deadline, the timing is a little earlier than in past years. And so that deadline is coming up on the 16th of February. We'll be sending out the list of companies to the students at the end of February. And then the companies will then get 8 to 10 business days to review their potential matches. And then you're notified of your status in early April. We have 2 weeks of boot camp. So week 1 is May 20th, and the second week is May 27th. So all internship placements begin in early June. I don't have time to go through this right now. I see the clock that Tom has on there, but we also have another program. If the company that you're working with or one of your companies isn't quite ready for summer, we also do academic year program as well. That is more similar to our project internships. These are 150-hour projects. And the students, you're working with a team of 2 to 3 students over a course of 5 weeks during the academic year. Blackberry Consulting Corps also falls under the same MGRP federal funding, so the same eligibility requirements apply to this. So that's another option as well. That's we launched a couple of years ago. And then our website's there. If you've worked with us before, if you're one of the companies, or if you see something, we have a new portal, or a new, not portal, a new website that hosts all of our applications and most of our processes, called Startup Tree. So you'll actually create a profile, and it keeps your information so that when you go to apply for Blackberry Consulting or Innovate for Maine again, it'll keep your information. So it's just quicker if you're a repeat customer. And then my email is right there as well. I also, if you're working with any companies that may be a fit, please let them know. I'll put in the chat our flyer that we have going for the companies. But does anyone have any, oh, I guess it's not letting, I don't know, Tom, it won't let me take a file from my computer to put in the chat. It's saying that that's not allowed, so maybe I can send it to Tom, who can send it out.
Okay, no, you could give it a go. I just enabled it, I think. If it doesn't work, then I'll have you.
No, it's still saying, like, it's not allowing me to click on that option.
Oh, weird. Okay. I might have had to start that at the set. Yeah, if you send it to me, I'll include it in the follow-up email that we send out. So we'll get it out to folks.
Great.
Emma, stupid question that I think you said at the beginning, high school students or college students?
No, these are just college students, but we don't just work with undergrads. We work with master's students as well. And if you're thinking on the student side, you have students in your life that are interested. It's any student that's connected to Maine. So a Maine resident going to school anywhere, or a student attending any Maine college or university, or third option is any college student that has strong ties to Maine. Their family lives here, or they regularly vacation here, or something like that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks, Emma.
that's
And
a key
go ahead,
point
Joe.
well, I was just going to say that point is always been a point of confusion for just general public, or because when they go there, all they see is UMaine. So definitely put the word out to your kids, family, nephews, nieces, anybody who lives or goes to school in Maine.
So we usually get we had 50 students this summer. We'll have between 50 and 60 again, or last summer, between 50 and 60 again this summer. And about half of them are UMaine or UMaine system, but the other half are from other college universities. So we had, I think, 15 colleges and universities represented last summer.
Because the kids can still get in until when, Emma, on the timeline?
It's the same deadline. Yeah, we started
So the
early.
kids have to get their names in for internships by that February deadline?
Yes. Yep. We
Okay.
started recruitment a little early to be more competitive with other internship
Thanks.
programs that are they're giving their acceptance letters earlier. So
Awesome.
we just switched.
Yeah, post this to LinkedIn, everyone. Things like
We also, if you go to our Spire LinkedIn, I'll put it in the, I don't have it in the chat, but the University of Maine Spire on LinkedIn, I just posted for companies last night. So you can see there's like you can repost if you would like.
And Emma, you mentioned that so students get some say in what project they pick, and they get to kind of list their favorite ones. Do you have any tips for companies who might be interested in applying in terms of what sorts of projects tend to be more popular?
Yeah, so I would say it really depends on the student. We get some really niche ones. So I think whatever you kind of need help with, from a program's perspective, we get a lot of marketing projects. So those can be to compete with other companies to get the talent. Those can be harder to get, find a match, because even knowing that, we still have to turn away marketing projects because we don't have enough qualified student applicants to do that. So we do allow you to apply for like 2 types of projects. So if you have a marketing project that you'd really get getting done, I would definitely recommend having a backup one that is a kind of different, just that would have a different kind of qualification skill set, because those are harder to place just because of the number of companies that have that particular need. But we do
Any-
have a lot of, we had for computer science. So if you have any computer science projects, those we need more of those. Last year we had over 150 student applicants, and out of those 150, more than 50, so more than a third were computer science students. And I think we had 13 computer science projects, and we ended up placing 10. So if you know of any companies with those types of projects, it goes anywhere from, undergrad, sophomores to master's level, like RU students, computer science students. So it kind of, depending on, we have a wide range of skill sets for those, and for all of them, but those particularly, there's a wide range.
So Emma, that's interesting. A lot of companies want young people to do social media takeovers for them and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that's that, but not just social media. They're like marketing in general, not just for social media. It's just a big ask that we get from the companies. And we go recruit specifically at classes at the different colleges, universities. And I'll go talk to marketing classes knowing this, and we still don't have enough qualified students to fill them. So
Emma, a quick one. Marty made me think, have you ever had like public entities like cities, towns, economic development groups apply?
For this particular grant, they would have to pay out of pocket. And we have had in the past for the program to qualify, we have had those entities, but the projects have to be having them work if they are like an entity like MTI or something like that, that's entrepreneurial related. The project kind of has to have them working directly with some of these startups, so they get that experience.
Thank you for that.
Great. Well, thanks so much, Emma. And I see you already posted some stuff in the chat, but if there's anything else you want to share, go ahead. Actually, wait, maybe you didn't. Yeah. Feel free to go ahead and share your info and anything in the chat. So we have about 8 minutes left. I see Jake joined. I know Jake had an announcement he wanted to share with the group, but if folks have any, brief announcements, we can use the rest of the time just to share organizational updates. Jake, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, hey, thanks, Tom. I just wanted to share at GrantX, we are launching our AI Pro plan for seamlessly finding grant funding and being able to apply using our agentic platform. Basically just making it so that you can very quickly and easily figure out what other grant funding options are out there. And then we provide some AI assistance for managing that workflow and generating applications. On Monday, we are launching our paid subscription. So if you want to create a free account on our beta today or anytime before Monday, we'll give you 3 months free. So you can use that kind of additional plan without having to pay anything extra. I just wanted to open that offer up to the participants of MxG. Really great program, and hopefully people can use our platform, find more grant funding, and benefit. So if you can sign up for a free account today, we'll give you those 3 months free to use.
What is the cost?
I'm sorry, it came through kind of quietly.
What is your cost when it's not free anymore?
Yeah, so we're doing $10 a month as the discounted rate for the first few early users, and then we're going to bump it up to the regular pricing of $100 a month.
Great, thanks, Jake.
I have a question. Yeah, sorry, I can't find the raise hand. I don't know why. It's Jen. Jacob, is this targeted grants for businesses or nonprofits? What's your market?
Both. We're very general. So we work with businesses, universities, nonprofits. We've even talked with some utilities as well, and people across all sectors have been able to find some use out of our platform. And just a note there as well, we are also adding 33,000 different funders and funding opportunities to our database over the next week, and that will continue to grow and grow. So again, create a free account. You'll get to use it for free for another 3 months. And over those 3 months, we'll be adding more and more funding opportunities, so you'll be able to kind of find out more and more what's out there for you.
Jake, Yeah, and feel free to post the link in the chat. Any other updates from organizations in terms of plans for 2025 or just updates for the community?
I'll follow on with the grant theme. I think most of you guys know that I'm part of the MTI Technical Assistance Program team, helping companies in Maine get federal R&D dollars for their research and development. And after somewhat slow fourth quarter last year, we have started off with a bang. This week, we had 3 companies submit letters of intent for the Department of Energy, and their full proposals will be due in February. And then on Wednesday, the annual NOAA solicitation went in. And I think in one way or another, we worked with 6 companies from Maine applying to that program. We have 2 phase 1 USDA awardees that will be applying for their phase 2s due in late March. So Karen and Suzanne and the rest of us have been busy. But, you know, we're always looking for people who, you know, looking to help people. So there's a link on MTI's website to start the process to get assistance from us. So go for it and spread the word.
Nice job, Cindy. Did you get us that Tech Hubs thing?
No. Most of, I mean, the TAP team specifically only works on, you know, for-profit businesses, mostly the SBIR, STTRs, Marty. But I occasionally work on some of that economic development stuff, like I used to do with E2Tech and MCE. But lately, it's kind of not my, I'm not an expert in it, and so there are other grant writers that are probably better suited.
Awesome. I just have one thing. Please go out and eat and visit your coffee shops or whatever. This cold is brutal. It's really killing our small businesses because people just aren't, we're cold. We don't want to leave the house, but it's tough.
Yeah, Freeport has a lot of coffee shops we have here. If you'd like to come up here, I think that's what Marty meant. Thanks.
Let's not start a Freeport versus Biddeford.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's what Marty was thinking.
Yeah.
I don't care where, anywhere. I just think it's true. I mean, it's just like, let's just lift up our small businesses through. It's supposed to be like a high of minus something in the next few. I mean, it's just like a tough stretch. It's friggin'
honestly though, you still can't get a reservation at a restaurant in Portland 3 days ahead. And I'm not talking about the really, you know, top scale restaurants, but it's still hard.
Huh.
Hey, I just
good reminder. Oh, go ahead, Peter.
Hey, sorry. So I just want to say hi to everybody. I'm Peter Piccone. I'm the business advisor for the Sunrise County Economic Council. If you're familiar with them, Charles Rutledge would normally be here. I'll be showing up at these meetings from now on, so it's nice to meet everybody. But I put a link in the chat. There's a program coming up that is an entrepreneur-based program, and you can actually get college credit for it, and it's going to be done here in Machias. So should you have partners or businesses that are here, it's a great program. It runs weekly. I don't have the start date yet, but the link is there. It's a great program. They did the 1.0 version last year. It was a huge hit here, and you can get college credit. It's up to 3 units. All the information is there. I don't know too much about it because I saw it for the first time last year a little bit, but I just want to point that out and also do a brief intro to myself that I've landed here up in Machias. So nice to see everybody though.
Welcome, Peter.
Yeah,
Thanks.
welcome, Peter. Great to have you here and looking forward to you joining in the future. Any last, we're at 11:59, just any last updates? If not, we can probably call it a month, and I'll see everybody in February. We'll get to see everybody and see you in a month.
Stay warm.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tom.
Take care, all. Good to see you.